Your first aid and hygiene kit. This little guy can cause quite a bit of controversy in the backpacking world. Just how prepared do you need to be when you venture out on your next trip? Well, in this two-part video series, I'm going to be going over the most common hygiene items and first aid concerns for backpackers. Guys, stay tuned. It's coming up next. In the first video in this series, we covered pain management, inflammation, fever, diarrhea, blood loss, infection prevention, and insect repellents. In the second video, we'll be covering water treatment, dental hygiene, eye care, sun protection, poop kit, allergic reactions, chafing, and blister management and prevention. Filtering water in the backcountry is a hotly debated topic, but for those of us who have experienced norovirus or giardia as a result of our backcountry travels know that shaving weight by leaving our water filtration systems behind just isn't in the cards. Fortunately, technology has advanced to the point that carrying a water filter isn't something that's going to weigh you down or take up a huge amount of room in your pack. We typically use 3 different ways to treat water while backpacking: filtration, chlorination, or boiling. For filtration, the Sawyer squeeze has pretty much been the standard over the past number of years in terms of fast, reliable, and readily available water filtration. I've also had some great success with the Katadyn B-Free water filter. Straight out of the box, this filter kicks some serious butt. In a recent competition in the Red River Gorge between the Sawyer Squeeze, Sawyer Micro, and the Katadyn, Jeremiah Stringer's B-Free won hands down. These filters all use a hollow fiber technology to filter out the nasties that keep you from peeing out of your butt. Inside of a hollow fiber membrane water filter, hundreds of tubes resembling tiny straws are bundled together to create a filter matrix. That is, the pores of the fibers are simply too small for the pathogens to fit through, but water still can. Over time, these pores get clogged and need to be backflushed to remove the debris. The size and quantity of these fiber tubes and their ability to be properly flushed affects their performance. Whichever brand you choose, make sure you keep it from freezing. Water remains inside of these hollow fiber tubes, and once frozen, they expand and crack, allowing the creepy nasties a pathway straight into your water bottle. The second most popular way of treating water in the backcountry is chemical warfare. That's right, we're using science to keep away the nasties. In this section, we'll be discussing the 3 most popular ways to chemically treat your water: Aquatabs, Aquamira drops, and good old unscented household bleach. Aquatabs are the world's #1 water purification tablets. The parent company of Aquatabs, Medentech, is headquartered in Wexford, Ireland, with distribution in over 100 countries worldwide. The company began in 1984 with the development of a fast-acting and effective effervescent tablet, Steranova, as a portable, easy-to-use disinfection solution for infant feeding bottles. Today, their Aquatabs are used around the world. The active ingredient of these effervescent tablets is sodium dichloroisocyanurate, which does a great job at preventing traveler's diarrhea, giardia, fecal coliforms, cholera, typhoid, dysentery, and many other waterborne diseases including hepatitis A and E and salmonella. Aquamira Technologies Incorporated, makers of Aquamira water treatment drops, was first introduced to the outdoor market in 1999. It's a liquid chlorine dioxide solution that many backpackers use to purify and disinfect backcountry water sources. If you're unfamiliar with chlorine dioxide, it's a well-established disinfectant that works by releasing a highly active form of oxygen, which is a strong oxidant and a powerful germicidal agent. It kills bacteria and enhances the taste of stored, potable water. Each A and B set of 1-ounce bottles treats up to 30 gallons of water. If you can't boil water, you can disinfect it by using household bleach. Bleach will kill some, but not all types of disease-causing organisms that may be in the water. Chlorine and iodine may not be effective in controlling more resistant organisms like Cryptosporidium. If the water is cloudy, filter it through some clothes or a bandana. Add 2 drops of regular, unscented liquid household bleach for each liter of water, stir it well, and let it stand for 30 minutes before you use it. The active ingredient that works the magic is sodium hypochlorite. Your bleach needs to have a concentration that's between 6 and 8.25% to be effective. Experts suggest that your drinking water should have no more than 4 parts per million chlorine. Bonus tip, it also does a pretty great job at frosting all those tips so you look terrific on trail. Boiling water is the last of the 3 ways we make water safe to drink in the backcountry. Unfortunately, it's the most labor-intensive and time and resource consuming. Information from the World Health Organization states that the process of heating water to a rolling boil is efficient enough to inactivate pathogenic bacteria, viruses, and protozoa. After the water has reached a rolling boil, it should be removed from the heat, allowed to cool naturally, and protected from post-treatment recontamination during storage. If turbid water needs to be clarified for aesthetic reasons, this should be done before boiling. Dental hygiene in the backcountry is just as important as at home. Next to the views, having an awesome meal at camp can be one of the most memorable activities that a hiker engages in. But there's nothing worse than getting a huge chunk of bear sausage caught in your teeth that you just can't get out on the first night of camp. First, I'll talk about some of the hygiene items that backpackers carry, and how to shave some of the weight from your normal dental hygiene supplies. I'll also discuss some options that you may not have thought of. Maybe some of you have heard this phrase from the ultralight jerk on Instagram: cut toothbrushes and not switchbacks. Well, it's true. For those of us who like to occasionally go ultralight, this is one area where you can shave a few grams. No need to bring that full-size toothbrush. Just cut down your favorite one or go with a travel-size brush that you can get at most big box stores. A few other lightweight options to consider. The company Z-Packs makes a lightweight kit you can buy directly from their website. I've seen people shave weight by using a silicone toothbrush commonly used for young children and pets. My method of brushing? Cut down the head of that toothbrush even more and affix it to the end of your titanium long-handled spoon with a small hair tie. Bam! Lightweight with all the reach of a normal length toothbrush, and when you're done eating, you've got a nice reminder right there to brush those chompers. For toothpaste, a small travel-size tube should be way more than you'll ever need out on trail for most trips. Want to save even more weight in your hygiene kit? Try using commercially available toothpaste drops, like these from Architect available on Amazon. Bring only as many drops as you need for your trip, pop one in your mouth with some water, chew, and brush. If you're like me, you'll try dehydrating some of these on your own. Use the most basic toothpaste without the addition of gels or other chemicals that won't dry as easily. Let them air dry on each side for a few days, or speed up the process using the lowest temperature in your home dehydrator or oven. Whichever drying method you choose, make sure you dust both sides with a little baking soda to keep them from sticking together. Not into the fluoride game and want a natural alternative? Leave that plastic tube at home and try using tooth powder instead. Just a little bit of tooth powder in a plastic bag will last you a long time, and also make it look like you're dealing smack in the backcountry. So have fun explaining that one to the ranger as the baggie tumbles out of your pack while you're searching for that permit you've got buried at the bottom of your bag. Trips and I both use the dirt tooth powder pictured here, made from extra fine bentonite clay, natural baking soda, green tea extract, organic stevia, and a proprietary blend of mint essential oils. Aside from being super ultralight, when you're brushing with tooth powder, you're definitely going to earn that Hiker Trash badge when it looks like you've got a mouthful of mud. A bit of dental floss is always handy for getting out that beef jerky stuck between your teeth, and also doubles as super tough repair thread should your backpack take a dump on you. On shorter trips, a few disposable dental flossers may be all you need, or be super leave no trace conscious and just use that dental pick at the end of your classic SD Swiss Army knife. For me, next to my bandana, the classic SD knife is one of the most versatile pieces of equipment that I carry.
Just think of the weight savings. Oh, dude, the weight savings.
Eye care in the backcountry isn't just for those of us who are visually impaired. Just as through hiker I.B. Tat, who lost his sunglasses and had to negotiate a pass between mountains and a snowfield with the sun absolutely blinding him. Sometimes we do what we gotta do just to get by. From safety and sun to prescription and contact lenses, we're going to quickly talk about all the ways to keep your eyeballs safe, protected, and happy, and all the accessories that go with each of them that you may forget or elect to leave behind. Some of us hikers don't really get into the contact lens game for one reason or another, and just opt to wear glasses. Prescription glasses are extremely versatile and come with a variety of options depending on the style and brand you choose. From special anti-glare and polarized coatings to automatic darkening of the lenses depending on your lighting conditions, they've truly come a long way, but just plan on spending some dinero, as these options can get quite expensive. There's 3 accessories that I'd recommend for any kind of glasses that you choose to bring with you in the backcountry. The first is an anti-fog spray or gel, like this small tub of cat crap pictured here. There's days where the rain and humidity are enough to drive a person to insanity, and the last thing you want to worry about is your glasses fogging over or not shedding the raindrops like they should. I use this stuff religiously on the inside of my scuba diving mask, and I've trusted it for years. No need to search in the cat box for this stuff. I put a link below so you can get your own. Cotton kills, right? Exactly, so we all wear some sort of polyester, nylon, or wool mixture. It does a great job at everything except cleaning off the lenses of our glasses. You could use that versatile bandana that you keep handy for filtering water particulate or wiping off your crotch, but bandanas are just a bit on the abrasive side. A better option is a small microfiber towel specifically designed for the special coatings on lenses. These things are also great if you're a big YouTuber here like Darwin, for cleaning all of your camera lenses when you're out shooting that next big trail documentary. Whether it's a simple Dyneema pouch with a mitten hook or a dedicated lightweight case, you don't want to find yourself with damaged or missing eyewear because you didn't want to bother with a home for your eyeballs. Many hikers who don't need prescription lenses may opt for sunglasses or safety glasses to help protect their eyes, and the same accessories above apply, with the addition of one more. The old sunglasses strap. Is it really needed? Nope. However, I can't tell you how many pairs of sunglasses I've lost over the years. And I think there's definitely a correlation between how expensive your glasses are and how likely you are to scratch, damage, or lose them. And since buying this super trendy sunglasses strap, I've been using the same pair of $15 Walmart glasses now for 3 years. If you're a contact lens wearer like I am, you've got two choices: daily wear or extended wear contacts. Within the past 2 years, I've switched over to the extended wear contacts, and I've had numerous multi-week trips where I've never needed to take out my contacts. Now, that works for me. It might not work for you. Everybody's different. The same rules apply for contacts while backpacking as they do in your normal life. Clean your hands, which means some sort of soap like Dr. Bronner's, hand sanitizer, or wet wipes, disinfecting solution, a contact lens case, and, for some people, a small mirror. Pick up a small bottle with a screw-on cap instead of that larger bottle of solution. The size of your bottle will be dependent on the length of your trip and, of course, the time between towns. That small mirror is also nice, especially in the summertime when going solo. You can check yourself for ticks, and it also makes a great signaling device. My recommendation is to bring an extra pair of contact lenses with you and also your backup prescription lenses. An infection, eye injury, allergies, dry climate, or extreme elevation may affect your ability to wear contact lenses. If you happen to run out of a solution and have salt available, you're in luck. Mix a packet of salt, about a quarter teaspoon, with about a quarter cup of water, and then boil for 10 minutes. Allow it time to cool, and you're all set. The salt acts as an analgesic to fight off any bacteria present on the lens and inside the case. We all enjoy getting out on the trail on those bright sunny days, but too much of a good thing is always regrettable in the end, especially when it comes to a little too much sun. Having a few tools in your arsenal to protect you from the sun is always a good bet, especially when hiking out west away from the Green Tunnel east of the Mississippi River. For your head, a hat, buff, and bandana are great pieces of gear to protect you from the sun. The buff and bandana can be worn numerous ways and do a great job of protecting you against the sun and the cold. Want even more coverage? A trekking umbrella like the Light Flex is a great piece of kit to create that bubble of shade where there might otherwise be none at all. It's also great in the rain. Keeping a small bottle of sunscreen for those sensitive areas of your face and head prone to melanoma is also a good plan. The easiest to use on trail tend to be the stick type, similar in application to underarm deodorant. Ah yes, the old poop kit. That's right, everybody poops. Hunkering down for a number 2 in the backcountry is inevitable if you spend enough time on trail. And as lucky as you may be finding a privy or a fiberglass throne out in the middle of the woods, at some point, you're going to need a poop in the woods. The tools you'll need to get the job done greatly depend on the area of the world you're in. For most places, a trowel, 6-inch cat hole, and some TP and hand sanitizer are all that you're going to need. In certain areas, you're not able to bury your poop and a wag bag must be used. Basically, you're pooping in a bag and you got to pack it out with you. If you're interested in a bit more about these wag bags, check out the video from my bro Devin over at Backcountry Exposure. Crapping in the desert is his forte. For the rest of us back east, toilet paper and wet wipes are the usual go-to paper products to clean off the old fart box. But what happens when you're walking down the aisle of your local resupply and you run into this? And sometimes, just sometimes, toilet paper isn't an option anywhere you go. Huh. No shit tickets. The best backpacker. So what do? Well, my friends, let me introduce you to my little buddy, the Backcountry Bidet. That's right, no TP needed at all. Just twist this bad boy on top of your smart water bottle and squirt away. There's definitely an art to it, but man, oh man, do you get that fresh out of the shower feeling. But don't take my word for it. Take it from my boy Jason here.
What I do use instead of toilet paper is a bidet system. So what I'm going to show you is my bidet technique, which doesn't require any sort of fancy apparatus to shoot the water and clean you out. You're just letting gravity do the work.
Seriously though, you generate a good amount of sweat down there when hiking, and salt can build up leading to chafing. The bidet takes care of rinsing away any residual poop particles that your TP didn't get and flushes away all that salt. The last of the big 3 medications I carry is an antihistamine, diphenhydramine, better known as Benadryl. While backpacking in the Smoky Mountains, Trips and I watched in horror as a group of hikers were swarmed by a yellow-jacket ground nest that was on the riverbank that we were just about to cross. One of the young fellas unknowingly placed his hiking pole right inside the ground nest, and we watched as they stripped off their gear and ran back up the trail. We were able to get around the nest and met up with the group safely up the trail. They were stung pretty bad and had nothing to treat themselves. We were carrying diphenhydramine and were able to provide them with the medications that they needed. Diphenhydramine also works well for seasonal allergies associated with pollen and all kinds of other stuff floating through the air that you'll no doubt encounter while on trail. The pollen count for each area of the United States is different depending on the time of year. Do your research and pack away some of these pills if allergies are of concern. Certain types of allergy medication may cause drowsiness and can work as a sleep aid when your partner is keeping you up all night. However, I recommend that you only use this on occasion as it's habit forming. You don't want your body to develop a reliance on this for sleep. Like my ibuprofen, I pack away all these medications in a small sliding match case to keep them safe and dry. Chafing sucks and can be a real pain in the ass. Literally. Anywhere you have skin-on-skin contact for prolonged periods of time is prone to chafing. Repeated contact and friction between your skin and clothing or your gear straps also are great candidates for chafing. Chafing is more pronounced in these areas as your body builds up heat and you begin to sweat, releasing tiny little knives in the form of salt that begin to irritate your skin, first felt as a light burning sensation in the affected area, which in time can develop into a severe rash and often large, open, live wounds. Chafing can also occur when bits of debris like sand make their way into your clothing or shoes, or when those shoulder straps and hip belt are constantly rubbing against your skin. Like my buddy Milos here.
Milos is tough like internet, the tough guy. Very strong.
After 4 days and 160 miles, his shoulders and waist were feeling the burn. Like any ailment, catching the symptoms and causes early is the key to containment. I've got 5 quick tips to help keep you from chafing. My first tip starts with the right clothing choices. Next to hiking in proximity to someone who's blaring their music on trail, wearing cotton is pretty much at the top of the list of cardinal sins of what not to do as a backpacker. Cotton sucks at wicking moisture. Instead, it holds all that salt and sweat right next to your skin, creating the perfect conditions for chafing. Pick some sort of synthetic layer that wicks moisture far more effectively and also dries quicker, which is ideal for overnight washing and drying on multi-day hikes. You ever wear a shirt that has a tag in the back that just drives you nuts? While this may be a mild annoyance in the office, out in the field it can take on a knife-like quality after a few hours on the trail. When trying clothes on, make sure the seams and tags aren't rubbing or causing any discomfort. If you can, remove them altogether to avoid the problem. And just think of the weight savings.
Oh, dude, the weight savings.
Proper clothing includes choosing what style of underwear you're going to sport, or choose not to wear any at all. Many running shorts out there feature a fine mesh or lycra lining. For some, this is all they need. For me lately, I've been gravitating towards an athletic pair of leggings by the company Sax. They feature a nice ballpark pocket for the boys, which reduces movement and the chafing that comes with it. I usually wear these with a super lightweight pair of running shorts without a liner. On the warmer days, I ditch the tights altogether and opt for the running shorts with a liner. 2 popular choices with backpackers right now are the brands Sax and Ex Officio. For women, there's many choices in style. Be sure the material is breathable, synthetic, and made with quality seams that don't rub over time. For many people, chafing is a real problem around the midsection, and underwear choice can be a huge factor in your comfort. Try out many different styles and see what works best for you. Pro tip, while we're discussing clothing, be sure not to tuck your shirt into your pants or shorts. Tucking in your shirt allows the fabric to act as a conduit for perspiration, transferring it from your back and depositing it below your waistline in those super sensitive areas, your butt cheeks and crack, inner thighs, gooch, and groin. It also prevents ventilation around your hips and in the hip belt area, making chafing around the belt area and lower back more likely. Tip number 2, rinsing out your clothing and keeping it dry. On warm days, a quick stop at a flowing stream or lake to rinse out all that sweat and salt buildup from your shirt, shorts, and socks is a great idea. No detergent is needed, just a thorough rinsing to get out all that buildup that leads to chafing. If possible, rinse your clothes out at night and make sure they're salt and sweat free for the next morning's hike. Otherwise, you'll be starting off that next day with a nice salt, gritty shirt, a perfect recipe for chafing. Pro tip, after rinsing out your clothing and wringing it out as much as you can, attach them to your backpack using a few small safety pins. As you walk, all that bouncing around in the breeze will help dry them out in no time. Obviously, this technique works much better on warmer, sunny days where the humidity is low. It may seem like a no-brainer, but taking the time to choose gear that properly fits you will help cut down on the possibility of chafing. Uncomfortable or ill-fitting backpack straps are a common source of chafing around the upper body. Find a reputable dealer or a knowledgeable friend who can help properly fit you into a backpack. Choosing clothing with a good fit is just as crucial. Oversized items tend to bunch and form irritation, causing accumulations of material, and this can certainly lead to chafing. Same goes for items that are too tight. Underwear and women's sports bras are prime offenders when it comes to clothing that tends to dig into your skin if the fit isn't correct. It may not look or feel particularly badass to be lubing up at a trailhead or campsite at breakfast, but lubricants such as Rocket Pure, Gold Bond, Blue Steel, or Body Glide can be lifesavers later in the day. These products should be used early and often in all those areas prone to chafing. One of the most popular athletic lubricants out there is Body Glide. Just ask any triathlete out there the importance of a good body lubricant.
So coming in at number 4 is the good old classic Body Glide. I did a poll on my channel asking you guys which anti-blister you use the most, and Body Glide was number 1 with about 75% of the vote. With all the testing that I've done, I keep coming back to Body Glide, and Body Glide is becoming my comparison product. I think the reason the Body Glide is so popular is it just ticks a lot of boxes right, and it doesn't really have any negatives that I've found. It's wetsuit safe, it works at all temperatures, it works and it works well. It's gonna be good for 3 to 5 hours at the bare minimum.
Removing the funk. Many of us take great pride in that hiker trash appearance. However, that hiker funk isn't merely a source of stink, it can also be a key cause of chafing. Be sure to wash your nether regions and other chafing hotspots thoroughly before hiking and at day's end while on multi-day excursions, rinsing off sweat-deposited grit-like salt crystals that can exacerbate the sting of chafing and eventually lead to a blister. Just the mention of our last topic sends chills down every hiker's spine. Getting a raw, painful wound on your foot is enough to ruin a carefully planned trip years in the making. But there are ways to mitigate the chance of you getting one or more of these little devils. First, it's important to know how a blister is formed. Friction from your socks and shoes rubbing against the thicker outer layer of your skin ends up moving more than the sensitive inner layers of your skin. As these two layers of skin start to separate, the beginning of what we call a hot spot is formed. With additional friction and time, fluid begins to form between the layers, and a full-fledged blister is born. So now that you know what a blister is and how it's formed, how do we go about preventing them? Well, your first defense is a good pair of shoes and socks to go with them. Unfortunately, this is a super personal choice, and I can only point out what works for me. Some people love boots for the ankle support, and some, like my buddy Hunter, love rocking the sandals on trail. For me, I've always gravitated towards the non-waterproof trail runners. The longer you hike, the more your feet will heat up and swell, so I like to have a nice wide toe box with plenty of room for my piggies to spread out. I've had excellent results with a brand called Ultra. Ultra has numerous shoes in their hiking lineup, with their stack height being one of the most notable differences between the models. The Superior, Ultra Lone Peak, Temp, and Olympus are all very popular names in the backpacking world. The shoes mentioned above feature a zero-drop platform where the heel is at the same height of the ball of the foot. And this is what your foot does naturally when you're standing on a level surface in bare feet. Personally, I defeat the purpose of this and opt to add a special insole to my shoe to help keep my foot locked in place, minimizing my foot movement in my shoe, which for me leads to blisters. For some, like my buddy Rob Pelton over at rpelton1 on YouTube, he had the exact opposite happen to him. On a recent trip, he used an insole and a new pair of Temps, same as I'm using, but for him,
spoiler alert, it was a blister.
I'm not here to sell you a particular shoe, just know that shoe fit is extremely important. Try on your shoes at a reputable store with a great return policy, like REI. If the shoes are even the slightest bit uncomfortable in the store, it's going to be magnified tenfold on the trail. Never buy shoes online unless you're already familiar with the model you're buying, unless you've got that kind of money to toss around. Your sock choice is just as important as your shoes. Too thick and padded, your feet will overheat and sweat, which is a good recipe for disaster. Cotton? Only if you want to die. Your choice in socks may vary from trip to trip, depending on your thermal insulation needs. For most of my 3-season trips, I opt for a pair of light cushion micro crew socks from a company in Vermont called Darn Tough. Completely American made, these socks have a lifetime warranty. You ever get a hole in a pair, they get replaced, no questions asked. Underneath these socks, I sport a thin pair of synthetic toe socks by the brand name Injinji. These socks do a great job of wicking away moisture from the feet and providing just a bit of space between the toes to keep them from rubbing. Paired together, these socks have worked out great for me in preventing blisters. Try out different sock combinations for yourself and see what works out best. Next to a good pair of shoes and socks, there are preventatives that help to keep you from developing a blister. The effectiveness of these products is different from person to person. Friction causes blisters, so it stands to reason that reducing friction can help reduce blisters. There are a number of popular lubricating products on the market that have worked to help keep hikers blister-free. Applying products like Trail Toes, Body Glide, and Bonnie's Balm have helped hikers avoid hot spots altogether. Applying product at the start of your day's hike and numerous times throughout the day helps to keep hot spots from forming by allowing the skin to slide rather than rub. I've had success using 2 of these types of lubricating products, Chamison and Petrolatum. Chamison is a more natural product combining zinc oxide, aloe, chamomile, and manuka honey to provide not only a moisture barrier, but also nourishes your skin and helps to relieve inflammation. Petrolatum is a petroleum-based product that excels at keeping your feet from drying out and cracking. It also protects against minor skin irritations and is a great burn ointment as well when your dinner-making adventures end in a second-degree burn. For those trouble spots, a more extreme approach may be warranted. Get out that Leukotape or duct tape and apply it to your skin in those areas that are prone to blister. Just like you'd cover up a blister after it's formed, you'll want to pad those areas that are prone to blistering. The extra layer of protection helps to prevent a blister from forming. Keeping your feet dry is a great way to prevent blisters and trench foot. Other than changing your socks regularly, you can add a product like Gold Bond medicated powder to your feet to help wick moisture and provide a bit of lubrication against the rubbing effects of your socks. Instead of bringing a small travel-sized bottle of powder along, transfer that powder into a doubled-up pair of women's stockings to make a powder bag. Dump the desired amount of powder inside the stocking, tie it off, and cut off the excess material. It's much more efficient to apply to your feet, and a small amount ends up going a long way. So you've done everything you could, but you still ended up with a blister. Should you pop it or cover it up? Popping blisters is a bit of a controversial topic, with many people saying that by breaking open the skin, you create openings for infection. While technically true, for most of us deep in the backcountry where we don't have the luxury of staying off of our feet, the benefits of draining the blister outweigh the risks of keeping it intact. The key is to carefully drain the blister in a controlled way. Blisters form in high-stress areas, and bursting one of these guys on trail in a sweaty, dirty sock is a painful experience. Trust me, I know. I've experienced this agony in the middle of a brutal late-fall Lake Superior storm on the Superior hiking trail. It's like lightning bolts coursing through your foot with every step. Bursting a blister carries with it a much higher chance of infection versus a carefully controlled drainage. Inside of my first aid kit, I carry a tiny Ziploc bag with a few supplies inside for draining blisters. A pre-threaded needle and some extra thread, Neosporin and a tiny applicator, a few alcohol pads, and some gauze make the list. You also need some of that super handy Leukotape and your mini big lighter for this procedure. Make sure your needle has a large enough head opening to easily pass the thread through. Trust me, there is nothing more frustrating than trying to thread a tiny needle at night or on a windy day. It's going to save you loads of frustration. Aside from gear and clothing repair, a needle and thread are great tools for gently draining a blister. It's always good to clean up the blister area the best that you can, and then sterilize with your alcohol prep pad. Use your mini big lighter to sterilize the needle, and then coat both the needle and the thread in the Neosporin using your small applicator bottle that we talked about in the last video. Gently run the needle through the fluid-filled blister completely. Remove the needle, leaving both ends of the thread exposed on both sides of the blister, about an inch on each side. This procedure is best done at the end of the day, as the fluid inside the blister will slowly weep through the thread as you sleep and empty the inside of the blister. If you're in the middle of a long hike and have miles and miles to go, you may need to gently massage the blister a bit to speed up the process. After massaging the liquid out on trail, or after a good night's rest in the morning, take some of that gauze or dried out wet wipes and cut a circular piece in the center about a half-inch bigger than the blister. Place this donut over the blister to create a pressure-free pocket around the sore, and then cover the entire donut with Leukotape. Depending on the severity of the blister, you may want several layers of the donut to create a slightly larger pocket. In addition to Leukotape, duct tape has been successfully used for years by hikers to protect their feet from blisters. The tape is waterproof, and the backing has a nice slick surface that your sock will glide across rather than rub. A relative newcomer to the stage, a product called KT tape or kinesiology tape has some real benefits on trail. KT tape has unidirectional elasticity, which allows the tape to stretch in length but not in width, and as a result, the elastic fibers provide stable support without restricting range of motion like Leukotape. KT tape's specially formulated adhesive is latex-free, hypoallergenic, and is designed to last through humidity, sweat, and showers for multiple days of wear. Its fibers allow for moisture release, which is critical for comfort, wearability, and promotes a faster healing time. As a result, the tape provides greater comfort over a longer period of time. For those trained to do so, KT tape is great for addressing muscle strains and other issues. This tape is applied along muscles, ligaments, and tendons to provide a lightweight external support that helps you remain active while recovering from injuries. Of course, I'm not a doctor, and none of this should be construed as medical advice. And as with all wound care, do your research and consider taking a class with NOLS, the National Outdoor Leadership School. These classes are taught across the country at many locations, including REI, and will help you to prepare yourself for a safer trip into the backcountry.